welcome to week 2 of the SpiceRack, where we're covering Australian Survivor All-Stars. So, this last week of Survivor has been stressful and frankly anxiety-inducing. So I thought that this week might be a good time for us to all check in and do a little bit of self-care. This week we're going to be looking at my Australian Survivor crush picks, but as if they're mental health coping mechanisms. Spoiler alert, not all my coping mechanisms are that healthy. First up on the menu we have Henry, otherwise known as binge drinking on a work night. You're in the mood to go hard, but you've got this voice in the back of your head. Maybe it sounds like Nick, but you do you, boo. And it's telling you to chill, but no. Tonight, we go hard or we go home. And unfortunately, in this case, we go home and we feel unbelievably shit for the next few days. But screw it, because, oh baby, it felt so good at the time. Michelle, eat well and exercise. Okay, shut up, because I have been scoffing overpriced blueberries like they are no one's business. But we're still here. We're still here. Michelle, cardio queen. You promised that this would work out. And she still has to do depressing interviews on the project before the next episode. And you know what? Eating well and exercising, fake news is a fix-all. I'm calling it right now. Let's go back to our toxic behaviors. Nick, becoming overly emotionally invested in Survivor. Now, this one should be familiar to you all. I'm sure you practice it regularly. Now, you know that you care too much and you're coming off as weird and frankly intense. Your friends are keeping a bit of distance from you, but you know what? Who cares? Because I've got new friends now and they're totally on board with my new weird intense obsession, okay? Nick is all of us and you better be all unconditionally supporting him right now. Johnny is regularly attending therapy. You're doing all of the right things. Your therapist reassures you that you've moved past all of your childhood traumas and you're moving on to a new, brighter, almost as beautiful as Shawnee you. Well, if that's true, why is Shawnee having to spoon Zach on a secluded beach? Because you know what? This sounds exactly like something that would have happened to poor old 2018 Shawnee. David, yoga, bitch. If one more person comes at me hyping up yoga as the greatest thing of all time, I am hitting myself with all of these coping mechanisms at once. Catch me getting wasted at therapy while I'm doing push-ups and watching Survivor out the corner of my eye, because I do not want to hear the word yoga again. David, we love you. I love you. The whole universe loves you. And you know what? Hot people stretching topless? Undeniably gorgeous. But do not bring it up again to my face. Finally, we have Sean, the Tinder binge. Just a heads up to the ladies, I'm more of a Hinge girl these days, so hit me up. Back to Sean. Sean, catch Sean. Swipe, swipe, swiping. Want to get a slice of everyone. Playing this side. Now we're playing that one. Understandable, because that sweet, sweet rush of endorphins as you realize you're sexy and desirable. But then the shame and depression spiral as you realize you said yes to the wrong person, and now do you ghost them or do you explain to them that you never want to see them again because they smell and, quite frankly, they're unbelievably boring. Hard. But Sean, this time you picked wrong. Nick, undeniably the sexier choice. But, you know, Abby does twerk real good, so won't hold it against you this time. Now it's time for our Boomer Glossary, where I lay it down for the dads and explain some of the new terms they might have heard this week. First up, we have mental health. Now, Boomers, I know you feel a little bit divided on this one, so I thought it was worth taking the time to explain that millennials, we're very in touch with our feelings. Also, the world kind of ending, so we're pretty depressed. Hence the need for the previously discussed coping mechanisms we went through today. I do want to take a shout out though to all the boomer parents who are still forking out for their adult children's therapy lessons. You truly make the world go round. Tinder/Hinge. So I'm guessing most of you have probably worked out what Tinder is by this stage. But for those of you who haven't, my divorced dads, it is kind of like your phone app equivalent of RSVP or OkCupid. For happily married couples, I'm sorry. And then Hinge is basically Tinder, but you've got to be funny as well as smart. So, blessed. Tinder binge. It occurred to me kind of late in the game that this was probably one that needed explaining as well. What you really need to understand is that one's relationship with dating apps is cyclical. You watch a really stressful yet exciting episode of Survivor, you get thirsty, and swipe, 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 swipe. Next thing you know, you've got 3 dates lined up in the first week. They are all, without a doubt, awful. The first one, you hit her with a round of $30 cocktails. She hits you back, $5 beers. Not that I'm still resentful about this or anything. Date number 2, you're about to get down to business. He takes off his hat for the first time and he has a Donald Trump comb over. What do? Do you tell him, get out of my room? Or do you just go along with it? Still don't have a right answer for that one. And then number 3 is just so unbelievably boring that you walk out the room after 10 minutes. You delete the app. That's it. I'm done with Tinder. I'm done with dating. I'm single for the rest of my life. And then 3 weeks later, rinse and repeat. So much to everybody who watched this video. You are my number 1 crush, and I adore you from the very bottom of my limitless heart. Follow me on Twitter. I'm Annabelle CEF, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Catch you next week.